I'm just saying. So I came up with a new radical idea that we will make you all talk. Don't worry. I mean, we do want to keep this as interactive and discussion as possible. So I think what I'm going to do right away is, okay, few, I think, logistics or points of order, and then I think we can get into the session. So the first thing I wanted to check is, I hope all of us can hear it clearly. If you have any type of technical problem, generally, I think you log out and log in again. I think many of you are techies, but for anyone who is not techie, you leave and come back, and it's best supported in Firefox, also works in Chrome. So I think that shouldn't be a problem. Then in terms of languages, I think we will probably have the session in English unless there is something that you need to include in other language. But I do know Tamil. I understand some Kannada. Tamil nana theriyum. Kannada artha agate. Salpa salpa madadake barate. So that is where I am in whatever other languages, but basically we can keep most of the discussion in English. So we are going to have the shared notes and the interactive whiteboard available for most of the session. So right now, the first thing that I'm going to do is invite maybe how many of us? We are now 18, right? So if we can take like half a minute or less to introduce ourselves, but feel free to like draw or write or say something on the whiteboard. I know it is going to get, if it gets too messy, I'll clear. But as you're writing or drawing something, just introduce yourself in any particular, in no particular order. So maybe, I don't know if I should start. No, I think I've been speaking a lot. Why don't whoever is ready, go ahead. Or should I just call out the names?
The old school method.
I don't know. I don't want to put anybody in a spot, but anything. Is everybody okay with it? At least if you disagree, let me know. I mean, introducing yourself to the group with drawing something or writing something on the whiteboard. Is this okay with everybody?
So yeah, so few people have already started writing in the chat.
No, what
so
I would
Ganesh,
ideally like to do is to write and talk at the same time. So we are getting everybody introduced.
Okay.
So maybe Ganesh, instead of just putting it in the chat, you draw or write something in the whiteboard that represents what you want to say and just introduce. And so for every next person. Okay, Arvind is on the whiteboard. Arvind, can you tell us what you are drawing and introduce yourselves? I don't know what Arvind wants to draw. Anyway.
Now.
Okay, I think we have to make this fast. Otherwise. Yes, Arup, why don't you say what you are drawing and tell us what it is?
I just wrote down free because this is Independence Day today, and we are just trying to understand the freedom, what actually is.
Okay. Arvind, you wrote something now only. What does it represent for you? Okay, who else wants to introduce yourself?
Hi, Delfina.
Yes. Sridhar, do you want to draw something, write something?
Yeah, actually, I already drew something on the board. And yeah, hi, Delfina. Hi, everyone. This is Sridhar. I'm a professional social worker and counselor, and also I do independent research as well. And the thing that I have drawn here is I always I find it hard to visualize things that I want to. So what I draw here is like a path. So I'm just exploring myself, exploring the things around me in terms of stories, in terms of various things. So yeah, that's all about me, and I'm happy to join today's session. Yeah, that's it.
Okay. Okay, now in the interest of time, I'm going to leave it to you as an option to either put it in chat or on the whiteboard, however you want to do it. But we will have space for maybe some 2 or 3 people to talk, and then we can go to the next active discussion. And in the meantime, I'll also introduce myself. Why is it I'm not able to see the color selection bar? Okay, so it's fine. I don't know who was Ram or someone wants to tell why. Okay, now I got it, the color selection bar. Okay, so we don't have to use just red, we can use different colors. So this is what I am. I think this is the box of society. So I would put my name here outside of this box that society has created. And that's where I am, I think. I don't know how well it works, but yeah, I am outside any boxes that society might want to create. That would be my introduction. Okay, does everyone know everyone? Do you all like know each other, or you're all new, or you have no idea who is in this call?
I don't think everyone knows everyone. Some of us know each other, yeah.
Okay, some of you know each other. Good.
Hi, Pushpa here. So, yeah, a few names are familiar. Of course, Delfina. But I don't know if we have time or space, or is there another way we are introducing ourselves? Then I'll wait. Thanks.
No, there is no other way, Pushpa. Go ahead. You complete what you want to say.
No. Just to answer your question, that yeah, if we know each other or not. Right.
Okay, fine.
Thanks.
Because I don't know. Arvind wrote something, but I don't know if they got disconnected or they're still here, because I think Arvind was writing something. I was curious what it was, but I don't think I was able to hear anything there. Ruchika, you want to say anything? You're drawing something there.
No, nothing specific. I think you
Okay.
can, like, while you start conversation, I think people have a lot of things to share. So,
Sure. So the next activity we are actually going to do is, we said we will talk about gender. Okay, what is gender very generally? What are the words that come to your mind when you say gender? Okay, gender was too much. Let me start with something trivial. What are the words that come to your mind when I say ice cream?
cold,
Puchipale.
Kuchi color. Okay.
Puchipale.
No right or wrong answer here. Tell me.
the flavor,
Flavors.
taste.
Oh, taste. Okay. So what we are
Children,
going to do similarly is, can you all access shared notes? I hope you are able to edit the shared notes. So I've written the word man. Now you can write below man whatever the words you think relate to a man. And I'm also going to leave the space for you to draw a man as a group. Those of you who like to draw, use the whiteboard and draw something, a picture of a man. Those who like to write, you can write something on the shared notes which are about the qualities of a man, or who a man is or will be. You can of course use chat, but it might be better to put it in the chat notes so that it's easier for us, everybody, to see and collate them.
Is the
this
whiteboard
okay?
still working?
Sorry?
The whiteboard, is it still working?
I hope whiteboard should be still accessible. I left. Why did it go off? I
Oh,
didn't.
okay, okay, yeah,
Yeah,
it's working
sorry.
now. Yeah.
Yeah, sure. So on the whiteboard you're going to draw, you can of course use words also. You can use a text box, but on the left in the shared notes, you can click on shared notes if necessary to access it. I would like you to write down the words that relate to the man or the qualities of a man. There is disturbance in the background. What is it about? I don't know, Z, what is the issue with? Can I confirm if the chat notes is working for you all?
I see this happening.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, it's
Man,
working. Yeah.
male, human. Go ahead. Please add anything you want about man. This is going to form the basis of our discussion. We can take another 2 or 3 minutes for this activity. Okay, there are some really interesting ideas being put in chat notes as well, but right now I'll just let you go ahead with it because we can like discuss it after a couple of minutes. Do ask me if you have any questions or you need any help. I love the way we are able to collaborate and do this. Can we I think man is not that very important, so maybe you can take a minute to wrap this up and then we can go to maybe another drawing activity and then together we will analyze it. Can we try to conclude the drawing, not start something new, but if you wanted to do some final touches, just finish it.
That's interesting. Disaster maker.
Okay, the very interesting ideas that have come up. Let us go to the next slide because I think the world is not all about man, but we also have woman, right? So can we do the same for woman? Your drawing of woman, and then you create a heading here, and maybe I'll put the shared notes also. I think, oh yeah, you want man on top or woman on top, the top of the shared notes thing. Should I bring the woman to the top so it is easier for you to just access? I think man is done, right? Can we move this section about women to the top of the shared notes so that you can type at the top? You don't have to keep going down to the end. Yeah,
Yeah,
woman.
it's always nice to have women on top.
Okay, but
Not in
again, the
in
same thing. Those who want to, however, whatever it
whatever
means
you
for
draw,
you.
I think the feature, the option is feasible. drawing.
Yeah. Delfina, I think the feature is disabled. Can you?
So
Oh,
every
what
time we change
happened?
the slide, it is
Why is it getting disabled on its own? That I don't understand. Okay, let's
because you
figure that
change
out.
the slide each time, right? I think then.
Oh, when I change the slide, I have to do it. Okay, fine.
Uh,
Woman, there was only female. Write something on the shared notes. I do really like what you're drawing, but also feel free to write some words there on the shared notes below female, woman and female. Should be on top. Woman nested, jailed. I'm going to move that to the top. I mean, we are putting everything about woman together. Not the second sex, okay? But can we take another minute or two to conclude this drawing about woman? Or you need more?
What Aditya is drawing looks like current myself.
What was something that was drawn and erased?
That looked like a
that was
volcano to me.
that was
Who erased it?
that was for me. I want to
Chitra.
draw some like some stove
Cooking.
representing.
Yeah, cooking, I
It was
think so.
just not
No, did
coming
you?
by the
Okay.
screen.
I'm sorry, did you erase it yourself or somebody erased
Yeah,
it? What was drawn?
I erased. I was just not coming, so I prefer writing it.
Ruchika, I thought that was a volcano and you were representing the power within woman.
Okay, nice.
Okay, I don't know. I think man, there was the board was full, so I thought you have something more for woman also. There was something in shared notes that was typed and erased. Was it also intentional? Whoa. Okay. Can we conclude it in a moment, in a minute, so that then we can go to the discussion based on what you have given us? Okay, I think we have got enough shared notes on woman and man. So I am going to stop the shared notes. I mean, you will still be able to see, but you're not going to be editing it. And I'm also going to disable the multi-user whiteboard so that we can actually now go back to looking at what we have done so far in terms of man and woman. Okay, so when we talk about gender, generally we talk about man and woman. So what are the characteristics that we have here talked about man and woman?
Some socially constructed gender roles, something like that. 1 minute.
Okay, this picture that you have on the right of the whiteboard, the picture of the man, Does somebody want to talk about it? Either the people who drew or people who can relate to that idea. What is this man? What would his name be if you were to give him a name?
The idea behind this one is, the one that I drew, this one. So usually when we speak about man, muscular, having a beard, it's like, a symbol of power, symbol of dominance. And he has a bag which says that he should work, he should earn money for his family. Otherwise, he's not considered a man. So yeah,
Okay.
these are the ideas behind this one.
See, this is exactly the text everyone wrote, and I'm trying to see if I can correlate this text and picture as well. Yes, I think, Sri, that those are valuable observations, that we think that the man has a beard. So in this, what we come to notice right at this stage is that there are some things that society expects, like what is this thing at the top about that cigarette?
Yeah, that's a cigarette. That's the one thing which came to my mind. As soon as I read the term, words man.
Okay,
Because though we call women are equally covered, we should equality, all those things. The
correct.
society still thinks smoking, woman smoking is very 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 forbidden in the society. At the same time, when a guy smokes, it's the different case. Like that's a moment of proud for that guy, but it's not. It's the total reverse for the for a woman to do. So that is something I felt as soon as I read man.
Correct. So the society has different ideas about what a man and women should do. So can we call this broadly as gender roles, right? Gender roles is one part of it. But
Yeah,
if
yeah,
you also come back to this, what you call the words that you have written, for example, the first word below man that we have written is male. About below women is female. In fact, you look at the dictionaries, the typical first definition that you get for a man is an adult human being. For a woman is an adult, a female, human female. So, is there a difference between a man and a male, or a woman and a female? Are they the same? Are they different? Okay. Anyone who wants to say, is the word man the same as male, or is there a difference between male and man?
Hi, there is a difference. Okay.
Okay.
Male is something biologically determined, but a man and woman is kind of socially determined one. So it's a socially constructed word, the man and the woman. That's the difference I understood.
Correct. So even if we look at it now, yeah, you are very right. That is right, Shankara.
Yeah.
Because there is these things, right? You put about mustache and beard. Yeah, this is something about biology. It's something about the body we have. But then there are man or masculine. Somebody has a question that's also valid. And somebody has a very interesting point. Man can be trans or intersex. Even a transgender or intersex person can also identify as man or woman. Is bold, has dad. What does it mean to be dad? Again, we can keep thinking about it. Does being dad just mean being responsible for the parenting of a person, or actually making someone pregnant? Dominant, ableist, a person who identifies themselves as man. So if I'm just trying to put it into some order in which you see, this is not an exact order, but if you're looking at the shared notes, you see that these are a spectrum of things from biology to purely social expectations. How you identify, it's a social expectation. Disaster making, why should only man make disaster? I don't know. Or
Yeah,
but
Delfina, I'll explain that. The disaster maker, and then I put it in brackets as especially if it's head dominant caste. We say man-made disasters, no? So whenever someone uses it, I said, yeah, put the man, highlight the man.
right.
So, and here I specifically mean cishet. That's why I put the qualifier within brackets, cishet, dominant caste, class, religion, and ableist. That's true. If there are men with all these attributes, definitely there will be some disaster. If they haven't made, they're capable of making.
So now we have also introduced another terminology, cisgender. I'll come back to it in a moment. So this is about man. Similarly, if you look at it about woman, what are the things that have come up? I think this picture is more neat. I don't know. I think man is so messy.
I like it.
No, that's discrimination.
No, hello, this is what, privilege sounds like, complaining about discrimination. Yeah.
Just kidding, just kidding.
No, there is no joke about privilege, discrimination. There are certain jokes like, some people pass sexist jokes and then they'll say, oh, we are being funny. So that is
Okay, yeah.
Okay, we'll come back to it. But here, okay, different people can have different opinions. But this is what we as a group did it, right? So is it also something relating to who a woman should be? What do we expect of a woman? That she should be very limited? Or, okay, what is a woman's dress? Or what I am wearing now? Would you say this is a man's dress or, okay, sorry. Am I wearing a man's dress or a woman's dress? I don't know why is everyone so silent. I sometimes wonder if we are on the disconnected or something.
No, we are still there.
Okay. Okay, anyone who has not spoken so far, tell me what would be a woman's dress. Someone who has not spoken so far. Who would like to speak?
Delfina. Okay, since I know you well for so many years, if I answer, it'll be biased. That's why I'm being silent.
No, that's why I'm asking people who have not so far spoken in this call to say something about what would be a woman's dress.
Go old school method, maybe.
Sorry?
Go old school method, maybe.
Call out names who
Yeah.
are all on this call. So this is the challenge with online things, right? You don't know who is looking at you or not looking at you, but you have to just call someone randomly. Okay, I don't know.
Hello.
Okay, we have some, sorry, void space. Go ahead.
Yeah. So in the typical social fabric, the women's dress, if I have to define it in 2 words, the 2 words would be one ornamental and 2 covered. In the typical social fabric, I'm not a fan of it, right? But this is typically how we describe it.
Sure. So there is a certain idea that women's dress have to be decorative, beautiful. They should have flowers on them. I often ask, if you think that women's dress should have flowers, why is that flowers is something about women? No, women, female people, they should have flowers. Then I tell them, okay, in nature there are male and female flowers. So men can wear at least the male flowers on their shirts. No? It's not going to make you less of a man. But there is this expectation, and men's dress is supposed to be more functional, more limited. So these are all the social ideas that we have. So here also, I think there is something flowery, something decorative if you look at it as women. But if you go back to look at it as men, it is more like strength, more like mustache and that what you call other things. And it is more about functional. See, when you have this very basic line sketches for man. Whereas here, this is what we drew. I mean, this is not something that I came up with randomly. But see, the women's one is so much more beautiful and artistic. Don't you think so? Is it like we don't relate art with man? Yeah, there is a little bit of art. I'm not denying it. The cigarette is all done very cute. I'm not denying it. But look still how much more decoration is done for the women's thing and flower and other thing. And here it is more about a different thing. These are the social ideas we have in terms of man and women. So ultimately, it comes down to this question. The fundamental question that I'm coming to is, okay, at birth, the doctor, okay, sex in biological terms, sex is moral, is a binary. I mean, there is male, there is female. In terms of gametes, in terms of sperm and ovum, this is what reproduction is all about. Nature is made up of creating more individuals by the fusion of gametes, and there is only sperm and ovum. So there is a binary there. I'm not denying it. But what has that got to do with how you think and feel about yourself? I mean, is whole of life revolving around that reproductive ability? Or if a child is born, an infant is born, the doctor checks and says, okay, you are a male or a female because you have this body parts, you have this genitals. Why does that have to decide what school you can go to, what career you can pursue, whether you can go for civil aviation, whether you can be a pilot, whether you can go for the military? In practice, for many individuals, even if women are able to do these things, the negotiations they have to go through, the situations in which they make these choices is very different from that of man. And a lot of these things, I mean, about mathematics, okay, if there are more boys who are naturally good at mathematics, that's a different thing. We do not know. But why are we telling boys that you should do maths? We are telling girls that you should do arts. Even at a very young age, we choose and give pink for dress for girls, blue dress for boys. We ask girls to play with Barbie dolls. We ask boys to play with guns and other toys. If a boy naturally picks up a Barbie doll, if you think that it's not natural for boys to play with Barbie dolls, you shouldn't be worried about it, right? But many parents are worried because they know it is not natural, but we are forcing children to do these things for an arbitrary reason, which doesn't just make sense. That is where I think the way we construct gender on top of sex is the problem. So I think I'm just putting it here. If you wanted to add anything, I can again have the whiteboard on. If you wanted to add something to whatever you want, any questions you want to ask, you can ask me. You can put in chat. You can even write it in the whiteboard. On gonads, these are the characteristics that determine sex, right? When we are talking about the biology, yes, sex is primarily made of whether a person's reproductive system is geared toward producing sperm or ovum. The chromosomes can be XX, XY. Typically, there is, of course, a range of intersex variations. Then there are hormones, but even when it comes to hormones, it's not that testosterone is only for men. Men have higher levels of testosterone, but both men and women have both testosterone and estrogen and few other hormones as well. Women may have higher level of estrogen and progesterone, but men also have estrogen. Women also have testosterone. I'm not talking about transgender people, but even cisgender people. Okay, I think I used a new word, transgender. Transgender means at birth, you are given a certain identity. For example, at birth, they told me that I am a boy and I'm supposed to grow up to be a man. But I did not accept that identity given to me at birth. I like to dress. I like to present myself in ways that, like I think earlier someone said, this is how society stereotypically thinks it is. That is not what I think it should be, but that's what society thinks. So I like this expression of femininity. And therefore, I do not identify with the gender that is assigned to me at birth. That is what I mean by transgender. People who are told they are boys and grow up to be boys, or people who are told they are girls and grow up to be girls, we can call them as cisgender, as a term that contrasts with transgender. Then external genitalia is there, which is the body parts based on which sex is assigned at birth. There are internal organs, and in several intersex individuals, there could be different intersex organs which may not necessarily match the genitalia. There could be intersex. Intersex is, it is also called as differences in sex development, is a range of conditions when people have a growth which differs from the typical developmental biology of a male or a female. Then there are secondary sex characteristics as well. But this is all about biology. But when we come to gender, what is it that we consider as gender? I don't know, I mean, like, I felt like this was going to be an interactive session. Is it like I'm asking you too many questions, or is it like, is there a reason that you're reluctant to talk? Is it about technology, or is it about something else? Because I can keep talking, but I also wanted to check if there is somebody who wanted to say something, or you feel free to put it in chat, put it in notes, put it in a whiteboard, wherever you like. Yeah, I think some interesting comments have also come up in the chat. Mustache just grows on men, just not to stereotype man on mustaches. Okay, actually, mustache grows just on men is more or less a generalization. Yes, it is true that generally people who have what we call male sex, they have a higher level of facial hair growth because of higher levels of testosterone. But it is mostly an endocrinological function. So if you take testosterone, or if your body, because of whatever reason, produces higher levels of testosterone, maybe an abnormality, maybe it's your intention to have a testosterone hormone replacement. Either way, women can and do grow mustache. That's why I think laser hair removal for women has become a big business. Female also grow, but don't embrace it as openly as man. Yes, we shame women who grow facial hair. If it is something natural about man, why are we ashamed of it when it comes naturally for a woman? There shouldn't be a reason to fear it. The way we need to defy social norms. That's a good thing. Preferring trains or shorts are sometimes termed tomboys. Yeah, tomboy is another word that we use. We are talking about. But why do parents have a problem with somebody being a tomboy? Again, there is this expectation that we should all become something in life in terms of, okay, we earlier saw about here all the aspects of sex. Can I invite you to like either talk or write something in this whiteboard? I'm going to turn multi-user whiteboard on again. So you can like fill in what would be the typical clothes or attire for women and for men, or what you consider as feminine and masculine. You can use text boxes if that's fine with you. You can put text box next to each thing and write at least 1 or 2 words. Like, if for some of the categories at least, it needn't be a complete thing, but it'll be lovely to have some contribution in terms of your ideas. Or you can also draw something if you want to represent like what is a man's clothes, a woman's clothes, a voice, or mannerism, or physical appearance. Again, I'm trying to check, is it like someone has a challenge with understanding and using text boxes on whiteboards, or is it just that you're reluctant to write, or that you feel we should do something different? Please do tell me now, either way, because I just wanted to make sure there's not a technical thing that is stopping us from doing an interactive session. I think that's been really good. I mean, I saw the wonderful drawings that you wrote, but I also see some sort of hesitation to speak. So maybe I was thinking, what would make you all more comfortable to speak up? So in the interest of time, I'll continue this analyzing it as you continue writing it. That's not a problem. So yes, low pitch and high pitch is about voice. Voice is one of the ways in which we first profile somebody's gender, right? And yeah, even when we answer a phone call, when somebody is on the phone, we say this voice sounds masculine or feminine. It's based on the pitch. When I was in customer care and I was taking calls, sometimes people used to call me ma'am, sometimes they used to call me sir. But perhaps it was also because in customer care environment with so much of routing and all that, and the call quality might have not been that great. They might not have got enough information to profile my gender. But I think some people felt offended if they were profiled incorrectly. But I don't think it. From that we start profiling. As soon as somebody walks into the room, we start looking at, is this person a man or is this person a woman? We start making that type of a judgment. So clothes is the first thing we look at. Then we look at voice. We look at mannerism. Mannerism, I think there were some excellent ideas in the picture also, that like man should be strong, man occupies all the space. Women should be soft, she should be submissive, and all those type of thing. Then, yeah, genitalia we don't generally look at, but in certain contexts, if we are not sure of somebody's sex, that is what we ultimately go to. Is there anything you want to add beyond this? Names, what are my male and female names? Masculine and feminine names? Does anyone want to share anything about a name?
Delfina, yeah, there are also supposedly gender neutral names. Okay.
Right.
For instance, my name, I've heard people who say if my name is Pushpa Kumar or pronounced Pushpa, okay,
Right.
it can be a Pushpe something. It could
Right.
be a male name. It could be a fluid thing. Like, the common confusion is with these names like Kiran, right? Yeah, they say it's sometimes for women, sometimes for men, sometimes, and why should it even be like that, right? See, one is, of course, why should it be like that? But the stereotype type is that it is often, Kiran is often the most confused thing. Like people sometimes, yeah. So, but supposing somebody's name is Kiran Kumar,
Right.
as one word, maybe the confusion is less, for the ones who follow stereotypes.
That's an interesting point, Pushpa. So I think we have got some really good comments here on the whiteboard. So I'm looking at them. So in terms of, okay, why are we profiling? We are profiling mostly, and we are always worried about whether this person is man or woman, because in society, we have created a culture where it is normal and acceptable for men to be aggressive and for women to be submissive. This is the reason that we have segregating everywhere, from names to voice. Why are we interested in profiling? I mean, profiling happens in various ways in various aspects of life all the time. There are biological differences. Yes, there are biological differences in terms of race. Mongoloid, what you call Caucasian races are different. There are biological differences of very many different sorts. Skin color could be different, black and white. But we have come to now a society where we say that if you look at a person who is, say, black, and you call them with a different word, you call them with a different suffix, you say that, no, I won't use the pronoun he, I will use it for black people, or for yellow people, or for white people if I don't like them. We call that as racist. We say that is wrong. No, everybody is human, irrespective of their skin color, irrespective of their race. Everybody is human. But my one question, the one takeaway, if you want, from this whole thing that I want to give you is, why are we so obsessed about the body parts of those reproductive organs? Because human life, living as a human being from birth to death, making babies is just one small part of what we do in life. It's not the purpose of life. Right. I mean, it can be something that's very important for some people. Yes, of course, but that's something you do in private. It's something that you decide with your intimate partner. But your social role, how you live in society, what you do in society, doesn't have to be dependent on if I can get pregnant or if I can make someone pregnant. But because of this culture that we have created, that people who can make others pregnant can be allowed to roam free, and people who can get pregnant are vulnerable and need to be protected and locked up at home, which is a very horrible culture that we have built in course of time. Because we are not challenging this culture, we are always worried about segregating men and women. And this creates all sorts of issues for transgender people. I think we are also, how much time do we have? I mean, I know that it was supposed to be 1 hour. We started, I think, like 5 minutes late. Do we conclude at five or we conclude at 5, or what is the suggestion?
Uh, yeah, we can go till 5:15 or something like that. No issue. I think most of us will be here.
Okay, my idea is to conclude what the overview by 5 maximum, and then leave the last 5-10 minutes for any open discussion.
Should be good. Should be good.
So the name, yes, this is a very interesting thing. Whoever wrote it, it's a very brilliant observation that Priya and names like that which end in I or A are feminine, whereas if they end with N, Priyan, it is a masculine name. But the only challenge is that this comes from a certain cultural thing. You look at Russian names, I can show you enough and more Russian names of Russian men who end in I or A, and if you want, go and tell them your name is too feminine for you. So
Yeah,
that's very
exactly.
sorry.
I just wanted to point it out when Voice mentioned about the the general dress codes of feminine and male and female dress code in our society. So that's again subjective to the culture and the society which we live in. Like it's not the same for somebody else. Say for example, fully covered and ornamental is something for a woman in India is not the same in a European or any other Western countries. It's
Exactly.
totally different there. So it's more of like men are more covered and female are like, I don't know, with lack of words I use, more revealing clothes. So that I can see that's totally dependent on the local culture is what I feel. But yeah, the difference is there everywhere.
Sure, Aru. So if you look at it, it's a broader observation that these aspects of sex relate to biology. The chromosomes, the hormones, the gonads. Yes, there is variation in this. I mean, as gametes, as sperm and ovum, yes, there is a binary. But in terms of these characteristics, in terms of hormone levels, in terms of internal organs and all, there is a range of variations. It's not just male and female. There are also a range of intersex conditions which may also tend toward male or female gamete protection. But there's a huge spectrum of sexual characteristics, and even for the men and women, even for a typical, what you call not intersex, but a typical man or a woman, there is a range of variation. We call it as a bimodal graph, right? I mean, if I were to put a graph like this could be the, sorry, I'm in some text box. I should go to this. I mean, I'm very bad at drawing, but I don't know what I can use for drawing here. Okay, ellipse is there. So if I can, yeah, this is good to draw. I like the big blue button for that at least. But yeah, no, this is not, a ellipse will not do. I need half ellipse now. Okay, I think I'm not going to waste too much time with the drawing, but what I'm trying to do is to say that if we have a graph with two peaks is what I'm trying to say. So we can have a graph with two peaks, which is for man and for male and female, and our, okay, pencil will do, correct. So you draw, like, if you have this thing, you have, sorry, why did I choose this thickness? I'm sorry, I'm really bad at drawing. It's not about the big blue button, trust me. If I draw on the board, I would be far worse.
Do you want to use shape or something?
Sorry?
Something like this? U-shape?
Yeah, correct. But you want it like upside down, like
okay.
What you draw with one line and two peaks, with overlap between them, is what I think we would typically have.
Okay, I didn't get that.
Okay, no, not to worry too much about the graph. But what I'm saying is, maybe I'll try again. But yeah, I can do it with this thickness. I think if I draw like this, okay, this is the line. So there is this one characteristic of what males can be like. Okay, this is like how the men are, or male is not men and women. I'm talking about male and female. There are two different distributions, right? we call it a bimodal distribution. This is mode 1, this is mode 2. But there is a place where they do overlap. For example, the height of the shortest man is definitely higher than the height of the tallest woman. But the tallest man is definitely higher than the tallest woman, and the shortest man is definitely higher than the shortest woman. Did you get that, or was that too much?
One more time, please. Once more, please.
What I'm saying is that when you look at the height, for example, one example of a characteristic is height. We say that men are taller than women. It does not mean that every man is taller than every woman. What it means is that the average height of men is more than that of the average height of women. And generally, if you take the tallest man in the world and compare him with the tallest woman in the world, the tallest man will be taller. If you compare the shortest woman in the world with the shortest man in the world, maybe the shortest man in the world could be taller. But if you compare the tallest woman with the shortest man, the tallest woman is going to be definitely taller than the shortest woman, because these are not separate categories. There is an overlap between them.
Yeah.
So same as applies to any other characteristic also. But this is all about biology. But what I'm talking about here, when it comes to the social roles, it is all about how society has evolved, the arbitrary norms of society. It has nothing to do with biology as such. So we've also talked about this word transgender. So there are people who could be at birth, they were told they are men, they are boys, they were brought up as boys like me. But I relate more to the feminine aspect of identity, and I dress this way like women do, but I also have short hair, which you can say that not many women do, but there are women with short hair as well. So I think nobody is like a pure man or a pure woman, but there is a certain transition, certain change that some of us as transgender people go through because we are not happy with the society's expectations. I did not like the name, the identity, the expected dress code that was given to me based on birth, because I feel that the body parts that I have nothing to do with how I should dress, how I should present myself, with whom I should socialize. So I would say I'm a trans feminine person. I don't say I'm like a exact woman. There is nothing as perfect man, there is nothing as perfect woman, but I identify more with femininity than with masculinity. So there are several interventions that people may go through, not all of which everybody needs to. Some people may change, most people change the way they dress, obviously. They may also some people may change their name. There may be some reasons some people don't change their name. There may be behavioral changes we go through. And then in terms of medical interventions that transgender people go through, the most common ones are hormones and surgery. In hormones, we can take if I don't like the male biology, I can take androgen blockers like spirolactone, which actually suppress the production of or the effects of testosterone. And we can also, on top of it, go for estrogen replacement therapy. When it comes to the trans masculine person, they normally go for testosterone. If, for example, somebody who is at birth told that person is a girl and brought up as a woman, later on that person identifies as man, wants to live life as a man and wants to be seen as a man by others. The first thing would be, yes, they would start changing the way they dress, they might change their name, they would change their behavior. But if they also feel that, for example, their breasts are revealing their sex, they might choose to have the breast surgically removed. They may go for testosterone and then they can get facial hair growth. They may also remove the uterus so they don't get periods. Similarly, for the trans women, we may go through breast reconstruction surgery. I don't plan to have one. But even if I take some estrogen, maybe I could grow a little bit of breast. But I'm not saying it's all about biology. But biology is also one of the ways in which others profile us. So because of the need to show to ourselves in society in a certain way, people take up some medical and non-medical interventions. A person who takes up some type of a process of transition, of changing, of some medical or non-medical interventions to change the way they present their gender because they don't want the gender that they are given to them at birth is a transgender person. I think we can go on to sexuality, but sexuality would be a whole topic by itself. Do you want to go to sexuality now, or do you want to like maybe stop here and keep sexuality for the next session?
I think we can go for the take it for the next session, because sexuality will need more time to this thing. The topic itself will take a lot of time. So
yeah, just to give
that's my personal.
these are the starting points in sexuality. You can talk about sexual identity, orientation, behavior, aesthetic, romantic, sexual attraction, heteronormativity, sexuality, homosexuality, bisexuality. This is just some starting points. This is not the whole of sexuality. But yeah, there's a lot more we can do with sexuality, but I wanted to come back to questions. So question time. You can either ask a question or I will start asking questions. Is it fine with you, everyone, that I can make this presentation downloadable? I think I can. If I make it downloadable, I don't know whether you download it with the annotations. I don't think so. You just download the presentation, right?
Delfina,
Yes.
fine with me. I think this presentation is so good and so important. Yeah. So, and I like how you're doing it. I mean, perhaps the first time I've heard you speak, do this session. We've been in multiple.
Sure, Pushpa, we will come back to feedback as well, but I wanted to also take a moment to see if anyone had any question or anything that you felt, anything that was not clear, anything in which you disagree with me, because again, there is nothing right or wrong. These are the different ideas that we have got. One of my favorite quotes with which I would probably end this new ideas that I'm bringing to this session is, a civilization is better known for the questions it comes up rather than the answers it finds. If you ask the right questions, we are doing the right thing. The answers will eventually come. But if we are not even asking the right questions, it doesn't matter even if the best answer is written and given to us, we are not going to understand what it means. So I myself am a transgender person. I mean, as I said, at birth, I was given a certain name. I was named Vikram. I was tried to bring me up as like any other boys as early as as early as kindergarten, LKG, UKG. Teachers had observed I do not mingle with other boys. I'm not like these stereotypical other boys. Later on in school, I think sports was a huge challenge. I didn't like the aggressive way in which boys played. I used to be more playing the girly sports, which was okay at a younger age, but especially around puberty when the differences between boys and girls became more apparent. And society is also very worried about girls when they come of age. It was a problem that I was still playing the girls' sports. They discouraged me, they shamed me. I was then bullied by boys also. I had a lot of bullying. Because of fear of bullying, I didn't go for higher studies. But then I went to work in customer care for some time. I did various other things. Now I feel that we need a society in which we are thinking, at the minimum we are thinking, why is it if you are born with this body part of a boy, you are supposed to not have a nail polish? What is me putting nail polish on my fingers got to do with me having something down there under my between my legs? It's nothing. And if you are born a girl, the restrictions are even more severe. You can't go out in the evening. Why? Why is every girl seen as a potentially someone who is going to be dangerous, vulnerable? And why are we not teaching girls how to protect themselves? Why are we not teaching boys how not to harm others and be decent human beings? It's not like the body parts make you an evil person. There are, of course, a lot of men who are kind and loving and understanding. But we still tell boys we tell the boys you have to wash your sister's dishes, but we never tell. No, we tell the sister that the girl that you have to wash your brother's sister, but brother's dishes. You have to wash your brother's plate. You have to wash clothes for brother. but we never do it the other way around. Maybe it's changing now. Those things are changing more in the urban settings. And not only urban settings, even in rural settings, there's a lot of change happening in the recent past. But still, at a fundamental level, we still want to identify somebody as a boy or a girl and have certain expectations. The only expectation you should have if somebody is born with the body part of a man is that they have the ability to make somebody pregnant, and they should use it responsibly. If they are born with the body parts that belong to a woman, they have the ability to get pregnant, and they should be also using that responsibly. That is all. Use it for sex ed. Give proper sex ed. But otherwise, why are you worried about boys and girls? Why do we need to even segregate boys and girls? That's the question I have for you. Tell me. Any questions you have?
Trust me, I also have the same question. It started from the school days. Like, why are we segregating boys and girls? And what about the others? Like, where will you place them?
Okay. What about others is one thing, but why are we, the very reason they have become others is that the society is centered around making people fit into two categories. Once you create two boxes, we are left with others. And then we try to create a third box to put others. Some people are left out, we create a fourth box, a fifth box.
Exactly.
How many boxes are we going to create?
Exactly.
Why can't we just be humans? And why does, whether you can make yourself, whether you can make someone pregnant or you can get pregnant, it matters in sex ed, it matters in intimate relationships, it matters in discussions you have with your intimate partner. It does not matter in anything else you do in life.
Exactly. And Delfina, there's a question in the chat.
Sure.
Shankar Pandian has asked, so far we have discussed the social construction of gender. Yet, what is the use of the construction? What is the purpose of this social construction of gender?
Gender, correct. What is the purpose of this construction of gender? I do not know the exact purpose. There are speculations about the history. Why this history? We have this social construction of gender. But human beings, I think, if we talk in terms of evolutionary biology, we diverged from the higher from, I think, the great apes and other higher primates. So even in, I think, chimpanzees and some other primates, we do see this type of what you call social roles based on sex, I would say there, because it's like the female is unique in that she gets pregnant, and when she gets pregnant, she has to be cared for and protected. I mean, it doesn't have to be that way in human society, of course, but maybe in the time when we were living in the forest, when we were vulnerable, there were maybe some cultures, some groups, some communities in which the pregnant females were more taken care of, and they had greater reproductive success in terms of evolutionary terms. Those societies could grow their populations, whereas those other societies which led the females to defend for themselves might not have been so successful. Maybe that's one speculation. But also later, when we came to the more settled agricultural revolution and the way of human settlement, if you look at it fundamentally, I'm talking about the time when we have language, when we have culture, when we are talking and understanding, basically, does every woman know who her child is? I think she would know, right? If I've given birth to a baby, I know it's my baby. Yes, sometimes hospitals mix up babies. That's a different thing. But generally, a woman knows whether she was successful or not successful in creating her own offspring. But a man always has this uncertainty. A man is not sure, I have been able to create my own child or not. I have slept with so many women, but maybe those women also slept with so many men in the absence of institutions like marriage and monogamy and things like that. There is no way a man can be sure that he has been successful in creating his own offsprings and passing his genes. And this creates a feeling of insecurity. I think in studies about patriarchy and male dominance, they say the feeling of insecurity, which makes men think, no, I have to also be very sure that this baby is my own, just as my wife is sure that it is her baby. So the way to do that is to institutionalize marriage, make it about monogamy, define marriage as the union of only a man and a woman. And not only, it doesn't stop there, it's just the beginning. Then you start policing the woman and make sure that she doesn't have any opportunity to, in any sense, be. Every other man is potentially a threat because he can take your woman away from you and make her pregnant with his genetic material. So in that sense, I think patriarchy is a control of women by men, and it is strictest in its control even today in the sexual expression. What is this? A huge note here that we have received in chat.
I think we can ask Shankar Pandit to read it out.
Do you want to read it out, or do you want to just tell us a summary of it, Shankar Pandit?
Yeah, this is except from Caste in India, Dr. Ambedkar's work. Okay,
Sure.
so this is the point where he discussed about the role of men and women in a caste society. Okay, so basically he didn't discuss about the transgender issue or whatever or the other issues of third genders. Okay, but he has clearly discussed the role of this male and female and how they have to interact in a caste society in order to keep the caste and social order. So in this, so he gave particular example. So I just copied that examples from the website and I just pasted that. So if you want to know more about this, we can see. I read it long ago and I'm not able to recollect what exactly in that content. So that's why I just gave the exact except as it is. And one more thing I want to add actually. So
Sure.
it's basically like in a caste society, either you have to be male or female in order to pass your generation move further. So that's one reason all this construction has construction of this male and female is created. So the another thing is I'm not very aware of much things related to that, but I'm aware of this issue related with the early child marriage and what is the need of child marriage and men can marry many and woman cannot marry many and woman can only do one. These are the explanation I gave. I got it from this text, and I understood what it is the purpose. So how many? So that's what. So if you explain further from this, except it will be from this background. It will be more knowledgeable to everyone. That's what explainable to everyone. That's what I believe.
Yes, Shankar Pandyan, I think what you said is true. Ambedkar is definitely one of the most brilliant scholars when it comes to understanding and talking about caste. He is not only a scholar, he is also the activist. And the reason that we still live in a more or less independent and free society today, that's a lot of respect.
Yeah.
And yes, I think I have probably read this paper. Yes, he also talks about how this, as you exactly pointed out, how this marriage of a man and a woman is essential for this system of castes to function, and how the caste system is very much threatened by anyone who doesn't fall into this norm. And yeah, that is very true. But yeah, even today, I think if you look at it, where we are seeing the caste most strongly expressed, I mean, like you see all those progressive dominant caste households, they will say, yes, you can eat meat, you can eat chicken, that's not a problem. You go out with friends, that's not a problem. But when it comes to marriage, we will put a caste-based ad and get you married. Because ultimately, it's about that blood lineage. So other customs people are willing to adopt, but they have to maintain this control about who can engage in reproductive sexual activity with whom. which is what I think this whole of sexual policing comes to. I think we can also go more into it when we talk about sexuality and human sexuality and its interactions with other dimensions.
Yeah,
Any other
it's not.
at the end of time, any other questions that you feel we have to ask before you leave today?
This is particular about Indian society, but each society and culture they have their own role of men and women. So I'm not aware of all those role of men and women in other cultures, but I'm aware of what are the roles of men and women in the caste Hindu cultures. That's all. Thank you.
Definitely, it's there. But I think interracial marriages was a huge thing in the United States also. I think there was a landmark Supreme Court judgment, Loving versus Virginia.
Yeah. Okay.
So no other questions. We'll keep sexuality for another day. Please leave me some feedback, some comments. No, I think the multi-user whiteboard is fine. I really loved your wonderful drawings of man and women, but give me something to take home as my feedback. All the good, bad, ugly, whatever you think we want to do differently next time in words or in text. I can also enable the shared notes if you like, so that you can put comments or feedback there. Also, anybody who wants to write a few words of feedback, I'll enable the shared notes again, and I'll put feedback here on the top. I'm enabling it in a moment. Sorry. Here it is. So with that, I believe we can conclude, but I think it would be far more useful to have something not just like a nice or good or bad, but what is good, what is bad would be far more helpful. I'm not saying I'm really happy that you take the effort to say it was good. I appreciate that. I want to be respectful of that, but it's also more helpful to know what was good, what you might want to do differently, what you think can be avoided. And if I were to say off the top of my head, I'm very glad that I think since this whole coronavirus lockdown started, before that I've been doing these presentations primarily in person, because I was always skeptical about whether we have the technology, whether we have seriously thought about concerns of privacy, security, of access, of affordability when we go for online media. So I wanted to focus on, when we are involved in a grassroots level movement, I was more focusing on in-person interactions. We used to do this in classrooms, in colleges, and things like that. And it has been generally good. Yes, of course, there are something I learn something every time I learn something new, and that's good. But I have been very skeptical about doing this online. And I think, in fact, since the coronavirus situations lockdown started, I have not done any real proper full-fledged presentation like this until now, primarily because we didn't have a platform for it. And for that, I think I would really thank Aru for this, taking this initiative, and Ram and the Chikuru team too for providing the technical support and having created this platform, the Big Blue Button, with implementation of Chikuru team tech, which allows us to, I think it was really the way we were able to collaboratively draw, the way we were able to put together things on the shared notes. I was impressed by it. So I'm also going to maybe start a poll and ask you, on a scale of custom poll. So how was today's presentation? Okay. How much did you learn from this presentation will be the question. No, I think we'll have one question. No? Did we meet your expectations of coming to this session today? Say yes or no. I'm not going. Yeah, we are going to publish the results for everyone to see, but not your names. So others will not see how you voted. And I'm also not going to analyze who has voted what. I'm only interested in the consolidated statistic. You got 8 responses for 15. Does anyone else want to vote?
The poll option should be visible in your right bottom corner of your screen. Everyone.
No, I think I've not published it. It's now still at.
It was there. Like I voted already.
Yes. So there are 10 or 15. Shall I go ahead and publish it? In the interest of time. Yeah. So this is what we got. So it is good to know that there was one person who also did not feel we matched expectations. If you feel comfortable, you can tell us now or later also. You can, I'll share my, what should I leave you with? My contact details if you want to get in touch with. Is it okay? Can I share my contact details here? Or at least
Yeah,
my
complete. If you are comfortable, yes, please.
I can give you my email. You can email me if you want anything.
By the way, this session is being recorded and will be uploaded to YouTube as well. So, if you feel need some privacy,
Okay.
yeah.
Maybe email is better than a phone number.
Okay. So then I think I'll leave you with this contact detail. You can email me there. You just mark it to the attention of Delfina. If you want my phone number, you can ask me in private chat if you need it. But otherwise, I think let's not drag that discussion. I do thank the Nirangal team for the long association I have with them and the encouragement and support they have given me for this type of work. And yeah, the presentation is downloadable. If you want to take a copy of it, just download it. It's on the lower left corner. You can download it and have it with you. I do not know how I can share these pictures, even if everybody is okay to share it. Do we technically have a way of sharing these pictures of man and woman? Because I think they are really beautiful things that we can actually keep.
I guess you may have to take a screenshot of that.
Okay, whoever wants to can take a screenshot of
I have taken a screenshot of man. Can you change the slide for the next one?
Yeah, so you will share those screenshots with me also.
Yes, I'll edit them. Woman is also done. The next one.
Is there anything else that, okay, these are not, I think, very important. The man and women drawings were great. Okay.
Awesome.
So this is about it. So I really appreciate and thank every one of you. I am not sure if I had a chance to get to know everyone because typically when we actually do, at least when we do these sessions in person, we have some sort of an activity where we get to know each other a little bit more. But I also didn't want to put anyone on a spot because I do not know under what situations you are attending this session. But,
Okay.
any feedback, any comments, any questions, you are welcome to write to me. You just write it to nirangal.india@gmail.com and mark it to the attention of Delfina. I will check and respond. Other than that, yeah, I also have been, I think, beyond gender sexuality, I feel like what we ultimately need is a society that values privacy, security, freedom for everyone. I think we are talking today in what we call Independence Day, but sometimes I don't know. Are we really, is it about one day or is it about a movement that we are working toward what it means? I mean, independence is not just about are we independent from Westminster? Are we now under the control of New Delhi? No, that is not the thing. It's that ultimately it's not about any governments controlling individuals, but governments being there to help people function. I mean, if you look at the whole of independence movement in India, the central idea has been no taxation without representation. This is our country, this is our right to do it. That was the idea. So let us not, I think in Independence Day, let's not just carried away with superficial celebrations, but go back and look at what was this movement about and what does it mean in today's digital age. Are we allowing ourselves to be surrendered to? I'm glad that we were able to do this in Big Blue Button, and we are not. This is not being controlled by one corporation or somebody who doesn't have values. So I'm not against corporate entities in the what do you call providing solutions, but they should do it with ethics. And I'm glad that we are able to do that. I am also trying to learn and work with more with free software and free what do you call free software in all my use, but it's still a journey for me. I think I'm still.
So yeah, so that was really awesome, Delfina. First of all, I thank everybody here who have come here for the day, and Delfina especially, because Delfina took time to do the presentation and do the talk today. Within a short span of time, we have approached Delfina. I also love to thank Nirangal for being such an wonderful organization. I just came to know about Nirangal from Delfina, and also I would like to thank Chigru team for providing us the platform. It was really good because Delfina was very having a presentation with so much interactive. It was so much interactive, and Chigru's the tool was also helpful in it. Big Blue Button and Chigru, I really thank you. Uh, yeah, so once again, thank you all. But before closing, let me also know if you would like to know anything, or would you like to have any future session, if anything you have in your mind, say for example a book reading session or a article reading session, or any topic you would suggest, anything that will be highly appreciated, and we'll take it forward. Please contact us of anything that interests you. And once again, just for the information, this recording will be shared as video file as well as in YouTube and PeerTube. You can download it or watch it later as well if you want a reference of something. We'll also share the presentation and the chats and links. And yeah, Delfina, again, thanks a lot. Thanks a lot.
You're all welcome. So I don't know. I mean, like, typically when we end the session, we leave it for people to like say bye and leave when they want to. That's what I normally do, but I do not know what
You
the
can do.
protocols are here.
No protocols. We can do anything which the speaker would like to do.
No, then if you feel like we have come to the conclusion of the formal thing, you can probably maybe conclude recording at some point, so that if people want to say something off the record, they are okay to say that.
I guess we can conclude the recording.
Okay, then I think we should just make formally let people know that recording has been stopped.
Okay. Okay, people. So I'm